Welcome back to Final Fantasy II. We're right here, about to retry the final boss fight. Last time I made it through the rest of Pandaemonium, and we went on to take on the final boss. And it was just a fucking stalemate. Physical attacks just weren't doing anything. And really, it just has seemed like most boss fights, especially the second half of the game. Physical attacks just never do anything. And it's frustrating, because I know how this game's system works. I know the more you do something, the better you get at it. So, Guy's a perfect example. Like, Guy, 99% of the actions I've done with Guy is him hitting something with his axe. That's all I've done the whole game to try and make him very good at hitting things with his axe. And then you get to the final boss fight. But no, you get to most boss fights in the game, especially the second half, and he can't do shit worth the damage. And the only thing that really seems effective is magic. And Maria's the only one that has it going with magic. She's the only one that can do any worthwhile damage. But then the Emperor, he has a move. He has a physical attack that just drains the fuck out of one of my characters. And it heals him, and basically he gets healed 3 times what I'm able to do with Maria's spell. I wish I could have, when I finally threw in the towel in the last episode during this boss battle, I wish I could have seen how much HP he had left, how much was his max HP. Because it might have been close to max, if not max, because he just kept healing himself with that attack of his. And, I mean, he was just healing himself more than I could do damage, it seemed like. And he did that attack all the time. Like, it would be a stint here or there where he would go and do the attack. Or there would be a stint here or there where he wouldn't do the attack for a little while, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, maybe he can't do that attack anymore. Maybe it's programmed into the game after a certain amount of time he can't do that draining attack. But no, he still does it. So the only thing I could think to do during the battle where are they at? All I could think to do was use this on Maria to raise her spirit to make her holy spell do more damage, because it seemed like the holy spell would do more damage than the other spells. And that made it a little bit stronger. Not a whole shit ton stronger, but a substantial increase. It gave it a substantial increase. But it just still wasn't enough. And if she got knocked out, the effects of this will wear off. I don't know if this was in the original game. I want to look that up, because I know a lot of these I think were, actually. So I want to take some time early in this episode to look that up. It's something I should have done earlier, but I really haven't had the time, quite honestly. The only thing I could think to do last night to prepare myself for this rematch is to, of course, switch this black robe with the white robe. Give her more spirit. It also raises her defense too. Her straight up defense. So that could help. Also makes her immune to status ailments. Or not, well, maybe not immune, but it guards against status ailments. I thought I said the white robe increased defense. Oh, I guess I just completely misread that. Okay, it lowers defense, which doesn't help. But that leads me into my next thing here. I noticed Maria, because she's in the back row, she was taking less damage from that physical attack, obviously, than everybody else. And the more damage, it seemed like the more damage the draining attack would do to your party member, the more he would heal. I only thought of doing this morning. The only thing I could think of last night as I was raging and quitting the boss fight and going to bed, the only thing I could think of to make an adjustment was to just give Maria the white robe. But this morning, it's like I got a good night's sleep, but I didn't really get a good night's sleep because I only slept for like 5.5 hours. I accidentally unequipped them. But like, pretty much as soon as I woke up, I got to thinking, I was like, well, you know what? Furion, Guy, Leon, their attacks are just not worth the fuck. Like, every once in a while, Guy and Leon might be able to do 100 damage. But it's just not enough. Put their asses in the back row. Fucking give them nothing but shields. And they're just... have them just aid Maria. Maria has just got... she is my only real weapon. Man, he's not really raising defense a whole lot. Every little bit can help. The back row will help more than anything else, hopefully. I mean, Maria has taken considerably less damage than them in the back row, and look where her defense is at. I don't think he ever had poison, but just in case. Maybe you could even... I mean, fuck yeah, let's give you a shield too, just to raise your defense, and even evasion. It will increase your magic interference. So maybe it's not worth it then. Maybe at least put the protect shell on you. And maybe everybody. Yeah, right, if his physical attacks... if his draining attack, the damage it does to you is how much he heals, then having Protect cast on people will help too. I just don't have Protect leveled up at all, so it's not going to help it so much, I don't think. I feel like there was something else I wanted to do too, that I now can't think of. She's got a robe, they're all in the back row and have their shields. Maybe that's everything. And that's all I can really do. I'm gonna try and do some research on this Saint Spirit real quick, because I know I used it the last battle, but I was just in desperation. I'm just a weirdo, and I don't want to use it if it wasn't in the original game. Well, Saint Spirit in the original Famicom Final Fantasy II. Well, AI Overview says, yes, the Saint Spirit item and its associated spirit ability were in the original Famicom version of Final Fantasy II. The item, ability, yada yada yada. So that said it was, but we all know we can't trust that. If it was in the original Famicom version, the game was never brought to the West. It was never translated. Fans have translated the original game through reproduction cartridges of the original Famicom game. New items to later iterations. Or how about new items in later iterations of Final Fantasy II. On the Final Fantasy Wiki, I'm going down this list, and it has like potion, and then in parentheses it has cure below it. Like it was called cure in the original game, and it has all that stuff for a lot of this stuff, but not for elixir, not for ether. I feel like ethers were in the original version of Final Fantasy II though. It was in Origins. I think the Origins versions of Final Fantasy 1 and 2 were pretty faithful. I mean, Final Fantasy 1, the only items that were in that game or just like the original Famicom, where it was just potions, antidotes, gold needles, and some tents and cottages, and that's it. Like all the special items, there's nothing in parentheses for them. Like all the key items. It's unclear, so I'm just doing it. I'm gonna use the same spirit. It's unclear. I don't know. I don't know for sure if it was in the original Famicom game, but oh well. It was. I can't remember if it. I remember Ethers being in the Final Fantasy Origins version. I can't remember if Saint Spirit was or was not. I'm just gonna roll with it. But yeah, I think I'm all set now. You have braved the bowels of hell to reach me. But the hand of man, which deals in false justice and forsaken love, can never hope to defeat the Lord Master of Hell. Blah, blah, blah. And here we go again. Holy 9. Felt like Holy was doing more damage than that. Hold on, that's not good. Holy was doing more damage. What the fuck? Because Holy was definitely doing more damage than that. I think I used the wrong thing by accident, but I think... Yeah, I think I used Sage's Wisdom by accident. I was supposed to use Sage's Spirit. Yeah, I just have the 5 spells with Leon. Oh, there it goes, 16. It's like it's not even doing it. Oh my god. Still did a lot of damage. He still one-shotted Leon. Maybe it's because everybody's in the back row. I think that might be how this game works. Now that if everybody's in the back row, he does. Damn it. If everybody's in the back row, then he does normal damage to everybody. I think that might be the case here. Just defend. Might be best just to defend with these dudes, because maybe they can have even more defense. Looking cool, Leon. I don't think he did as much damage, but still a shit ton. He keeps attacking poor on Leon. He's only done it twice in this battle. But of course, both times he attacks poor Leon. Defend. 900 left with health. He only healed 1,000 to himself. Maria's just got to do all the work. Stop attacking poor old Leon, you fucking piece of shit. He really wants his former Dark Knight dead. I guess he just feels so betrayed by him. I mean, shit, dude, you were dead. We made you our bitch. What do you want your Dark Knight to do? I guess maybe he's just mad his Dark Knight wasn't there to help him from getting killed. Because where was Leon? Actually, that is a good question. Where the fuck was Leon when we went up in the Cyclone and took out the Emperor? And a bunch of other grunt guards there, but not his trusty Dark Knight. It's interesting how Final Fantasy II it has both the first Dark Knight and the Dragoon in the series. They'll definitely get more play with those in Final Fantasy IV. Only 766 health to him right there. See, if he just kept doing that and targeted one enemy, I wouldn't be able to heal enough. And he would eventually start taking us out one by one. He's starting to fucking spam that move now all of a sudden. How about you use some stupid attack of yours that misses? Damn. Just using that attack all the time now, all of a sudden. Can you stop? Why? Oh my fuck! Fuck you! This boss fight sucks, dude. It really does. I hate... Bullshit. Absolute fucking bullshit. Oh, that's right. She got knocked out, so it's not doing much damage now. Absolute bullshit. He's just, I mean, all of a sudden in this battle, he's just doing that all the fucking time, and I can't do anything. I mean, this boss fight is just bullshit. The game is overall a walk in the park, up to this point, for the most part. Some of those optional bosses in those chests in this dungeon, just every move he does, every fucking move he's doing now is almost that. Did I somehow accidentally use the Saint Spirit on Guy? What? I guess not, because Holy did 800 damage. Guy has, oh, he still has his Protect. That's right. I really appreciate that game. Thank you. Finally. Heals back 1100. Man, I was really hoping he'd be doing even less damage, absorbing even less damage. With everybody, with these characters moving to the back row, having double shields. But of fucking course not. Maybe having double shields somehow negate. Maybe you have more defense by just having one shield than two. So I didn't notice that while equipping them with the stats. But who fucking knows at this point? Okay, we just need to get back to like do what we can here. Use these hot potions. Holy shit, we did it. I hate that boss battle had to come to that. It was not a sexy boss battle at all. But that's just what I had to do to get through it. What a shit boss battle it was. Just like... It was just a shitty boss battle. I hate this game came down to such a shitty final boss battle. Just, I mean, the game, like I said, the game's a walk in the park up to that point. Some of those monster in the boxes in this final dungeon, they were challenging, at least one or two of them. But nothing like that. And now it's just a bullshit fight. He would drain more health from his attacks than I could deal damage to him. Even with me doing everything I can to try and up the defense of these other characters. It's just frustrating because, you know, like I said, like Guy's the perfect example. I spend the whole game just hitting things with axes. And then you get to these final boss fights in the game and you can't do no fucking damage with hitting something with an axe. It's just bullshit. It's like, I spent all this time. You know, it's just not guys, anybody. It's all my characters with their physical attacks. It's like, you know, I spent time learning white magic with Furion, but Furion hit a lot of things with his sword. Final boss battle. I know Furion had to be my mans to help out with the white magic and healing people. But I think I tried to hit arm. Pretty sure the last episode I tried to do some attacks with Furion, and those weren't doing no damage either. And it's just frustrating because you spend the whole game just making sure you're building up Furion's sword stat, Guy's axe stat. They should be gaining attack stats. And then you get to the final battles and it's just not doing shit. And it's just like, well, Guy particularly, like that's all I did with Guy 99% of the time. And now you're telling me it was all for naught in these final boss battles? It's just frustrating. And that's why people, you know, people just don't like the battle system. Well, not battle system. But people don't like the system of this game. The system this game uses to grow your character stats. It's not the traditional, you gain experience and level up. I don't mind the system compared to other people. But yeah, I prefer the traditional system too. I think like this system does have flaws. On one hand, I do think it's kind of cool. Like the idea of being able to have your character grow a certain way based off of what you do with those characters. It's a good idea. But on the other hand, it really makes you have to play linear. If you really want your character to be very useful at something. Like I tried to do with Guy and just have him just be my ultimate physical attacker. And it was just pointless at the end of the game because it still wasn't enough to fucking do any worthwhile damage to these bosses. And I got nothing else to do with Guy because 99% of the time I just had him attack shit with his axe, and now it's useless, and there's nothing else he can do now. I guess his defense rose, so I guess he was more of a tank than other characters, so I guess that helped out. That's why I chose him to be the one in the front row. That has nothing to do with him attacking, though. His defense stat growing is just based off of him taking attacks, right? Getting damaged. Anyway, my rant is over. Unbelievable! Defeated by insects like you. Not once, but twice. Who are you? God, that's gonna hurt my voice doing any more of that voice. That's gonna hurt my voice doing any more of that voice. So thank goodness you've exploded. It's done. Now let's get out of here. In the Game Boy Advance version of this game, with the extra, they added in like an extra episode where you get to play as your companions who have passed away, and you get to play as them in the underworld, and you go through a dungeon there, and you get to fight another version of the Emperor. So when the Emperor died, when he died in his human form and went to hell, the Game Boy Advance version adds into the story that he basically split in two, I guess. There's like a dark version of him that we fought, here in this episode. And there's like a light version of him. And the light version is in the underworld. And your party of characters that bit the dust, Minwoo, Joseph, Gareth, and Scott, who was not a companion in this game, but he became one. I guess he probably played very similarly to Gordon, or his stats were probably very similar to Gordon. He was probably good at using the spear or something, I don't know. But that was your party. You went through that dungeon with that team, and you take out the light side of the Emperor. You know, it's still evil. Its light half is still evil and everything, but it just has like a light aesthetic instead of a dark aesthetic, and I guess uses the powers of light. I've never played the Game Boy Advance version myself. I've never played that or the extra episode in that Game Boy Advance version, but that's just a history lesson for you. You're welcome. Oh, thank goodness this is a text game, so I can go off on these tangents and get sidetracked. It's finally over, isn't it? It was a long struggle, but with the Emperor gone, we've nothing left to fear. Thank you. With all my heart, I thank you. With the combined strength of Kashan and Finn, we will build the kingdom anew. Together, Princess, we will create a kingdom even fairer than the old. Though once a coward, I now stand here a new man. I have all of you to thank for that. You have my deepest gratitude. I'm sure Scott is smiling down on me from above. Look at you! Do you realize what you've done? Who am I supposed to steal from with the Empire gone? You put me out of a job! I guess I'll just have to start stealing from you. Better watch your backs. What if he was like actually genuinely like furious? And he just didn't mean that as like a... He didn't mean that as just kind of joking around. I guess that's the thing about these text games. It's up to your interpretation. At least sometimes. You sure showed him, Furion. You're every bit the bloke I pegged you for. If you ever feel like trying your hand at pirating... What? Then I sit well with you, Maria? Haha! Looks like your next battle's already begun, Furion. So yeah, I guess that line is indicative of... Apparently it's canon Furion and Maria actually become a couple after this. I guess it's said in Ultimanius or something of this game, I don't know. Now, Nellie's daughter Joseph. I said that completely fucked up. Nellie, who was Joseph's daughter, remember her? I mean, she did have that sad line. Like you could, if you went back to her after Joseph's death, which is totally optional. But if you didn't do that, it's very easy to forget who the fuck this is. You did it! I'm sure my dad's happy for you too. Up there above the clouds. I'm going to be working here, serving the princess. I just want to do whatever I can to help out. Joseph. Joseph? We must now dedicate ourselves to the task of restoring what was lost. Farewell. Farewell. Words cannot express my gratitude to you all. War finally over. Yes. We can all live in peace again, together. Right, Leon? There can be no going back. Not for all of us. But why? Don't go. Furion, stop him! Maria, Leon is right. We've been through too much. I can't stop him. Not now. Leon, we will meet again. I wonder if this actually happened. Or Scott should have showed up too. Especially after being in that... Man, Scott just got absolutely forgot in the original game, didn't he? I guess that probably did happen in the original Famicom game. Well, we should be going too. This is only the beginning. I mean, it was a war. At the end of the day, our side won. The side that was obviously the good side. Their long struggle was finally at an end. The Emperor, Pandaemonium, the monsters plaguing the world, all had vanished without a trace. Peace had returned once more. The wounds of the war would mend, and the memory of these better days would fade. But one thing would never be forgotten. That a band of young heroes once saved the world. And that's Final Fantasy II. No main theme of Final Fantasy here. Because that theme was not originally in Final Fantasy II. So I guess they started using that for it to stay. Starting with the next game. And it stays. It'll stay for this the rest of this marathon, but it's not in this game. But they'll eventually start to neglect it again with games like Final Fantasy X and 13. And it's not in that game. It's not in those games either. But yeah, at the end of the day, all in all, I do really like Final Fantasy II. Man, I hate that final boss fight. Did kind of put a sour taste in my mouth. That is unfortunate. But looking past that, looking at the game as a whole, I really do like Final Fantasy II. I don't care what anyone says. I really do like it. Its system, its stat increasing system, yeah, it's flawed. I prefer the traditional leveling up system like everyone else. But there is some cool things about it, I think. I think it's cool to try to specifically level up stuff, but it's just not worth it. Maybe if it was just less so specific, like if you want to be good at using fire, you have to use fire. If you want to be good at using holy, you have to use holy. Maybe it could have been less specific, and you could have just had a magic stat, and whenever you use magic, your magic stat grows. Or they could have split it up a little bit, like a spirit and an intellect stat, and every time you use fire, your intellect would go up, so that would make your fire spells better, your thunder spells better, your blizzards, your flares, and the same thing with spirit, which would be with white magic, like holy. And they did have that. But they just took things a step further, and they just made you also have a specific... You had to level up your holy spell specifically individually, and your fire spell specifically individually. and all that. And the same thing with weapons, I guess. You know, like, instead of just, if you want to be good at using a sword, you have to use nothing but a sword all the time. If you want to be good at using an axe, you have to just use an axe. Like, maybe they could have just had an attack stat. And it doesn't matter what weapon you use, the more you attack, the more your strength grows. I think they probably just went too far with this system. And it really just takes away weapons from you at the end of the day. Just, I got to that final boss fight, you know, I didn't use Protect hardly, because I didn't need to. It's not like I really need to use Protect fighting regular enemies. I get to the final boss fight, I need to try and do everything I can to buff my character's defense. I'm using Protect, but I only have it at level 1, so I can't do but so much. And it's just stuff like that, you know, like, I could have used Protect more, sure, throughout the game, with the mindset of, I'm going to need it later for boss fights. But then, the more I use Protect going through the game, the less I can do other stuff, like attack enemies with a weapon, or using other magic spells, so those will be less weak. And the only real answer to all this, to try and have everything be powerful, is just to grind. And I don't want to grind, I don't like grinding, I don't like just running around in circles and fighting enemies after enemy just to grind. I mean, who does, really? And you don't need to grind for this game. Yeah, especially this game, at least. This Pixel Remaster, I mean, it was a walk in the park, just like Final Fantasy 1 was. Up until the final boss. And the final boss in Final Fantasy 1, that was a tough time too. I did forget to bring the adamantite to the dwarves and have them give me the ultimate weapon. That could have helped for sure. I did forget to do that, so I didn't have that for the final boss fight. But the final boss fight was tough, but it was fair. I felt like the final boss fight really wasn't fair in this game. If I went for that draining attack was just too much, man. It was just too fucking much. I'm sorry. And physical attacks weren't doing shit, but they weren't doing shit to other boss enemies the second half of this game either. And that's just lame. Like, it just seems like you're better off just having mages then. Especially for the second half. Money becomes not a problem after the first few hours. Once you, like, discovered all the towns, really. Because you discover all the towns early in the game. And maybe, like, all you have left to discover is, like, Mysidia, and then recapturing Finn. But once you discover most of the towns, like after like 6, 7, 8 hours, whatever, money becomes not a problem, and I should have been buying more shit than what I was. Can't believe that this Let's Play ended up being 6 episodes longer than Final Fantasy 1. When I first played these games for PlayStation 1 on my old channel, my Final Fantasy 1 Let's Play ended up being 51 episodes, Final Fantasy 2 42 episodes. So 1 was about 9 episodes longer than 2, and now this time around, with these Pixel Remasters, 2 was about 6 episodes longer than 1. I think that just goes to show that, you know, my hypothesis for that is that with the PS1 versions, I had to run in and out of dungeons a lot to get through them for both Final Fantasy 1 and 2. But I think I did have to do it even more for Final Fantasy 1. And that makes sense, because you don't have ethers in that game. You don't have Phoenix Downs. You don't have high potions. And now you got some of that for the Pixel Remasters. I wasn't using any of that when I played Final Fantasy 1, except for high potions, but only in dungeons, so I didn't have to try and run out of them. Just so I could try and do them in one sweep. But no, I really like Final Fantasy 2. I vibe with it. I like the story of 2 better than 1 for what it's worth. This game really does kind of have like a... yeah, it kind of has a bummer feeling to it, like a bummer theme, like this, but fittingly so. Like in Final Fantasy 2, you're at fucking war, and you have allies and friends going down, but there's a realness to it there. There is just something I like about it. This theme that's playing right now, this is the overworld theme. I like the overworld theme for this game. It just really adds to that vibe of, yeah, this is just, these are sad, bad, hard times in the middle of a great big war. The Emperor's taking out town after town, trying to take over the world. I do fuck with the vibes of Final Fantasy 1 too, though, and how that game is that game really is like a big puzzle, and I kind of vibe with that in that game. You know, I've said before, you know, I have this top 50 list of my top 50 favorite video games, and Final Fantasy 1 and 2 are both on the list. They're like in the 40s, but I have 1 ahead of 2, but I have 2 right behind 1. And I don't know if that's going to change or not. Something I need to digest and think more about. But yeah, I really like Final Fantasy 1, I really like Final Fantasy 2. Believe it or not, it's the next game that really didn't give the greatest impression to me when I first played it. But I think I just simply had a bad experience with it when I first played it, and I'm real excited to play the Pixel Remaster version of it. And I think now, knowing what to expect with the next game and the Pixel Remaster, I think I could like the next game a lot better. But we'll get to that when we get to that. But yeah, that was Final Fantasy 2. Yeah, Final Fantasy 2 feels like it gets shit on by everybody. Everybody says it's not a good game. It's a bad game. I think Final Fantasy 2 gets a bad rap. I like Final Fantasy 2. I will defend it to a certain degree. But it does have it definitely has its flaws. I think they largely really reared their ugly head. The flaws of this game really reared its ugly head with the final boss fight, honestly. But I still enjoy and really like Final Fantasy 2. And that's gonna do it for this Let's Play. Until the next one.